Welcome to the Backyard Garden at the Bishop, supported by the Founders Garden Club of Sarasota. Now, we have a beautiful garden here at the Bishop because we want you to take the tools that you learn in the Backyard Universe and be able to apply them out in your own backyard, and this is your practice space. So let's take a look in our garden and see what we can find out today. We're going to start out with our Florida native species. We think it's really important to highlight species that are special and unique here to Florida. And these are just a few of them. Really beautiful things like our tropical sage. These tropical sage love to propagate, so we get lots of little seedlings from each of these little pods you see at the end of each bloom. We also have beautiful plants like the cutleaf coneflower. Obviously, it's got this great cone shape to it with drooping yellow petals, and then the lovely cones stick around for the bees to continue to pollinate. We also have great native grasses, so things like purple lovegrass, which are really fun to run your fingers through, and they have these soft, wispy seed pods, and these seed pods will turn a light lavender color, which is really beautiful. Native species are especially important because they support native animal species. And as development grows in our state and other factors play in that weaken some of our ecosystems, planting native species really help to support those native animals, and we love to do that here. So we'll move on to our next bed. This is a really fun one, our succulent bed. Succulents are really easy to grow. They love the heat, which is great for Florida. And as you can see, ours are thriving right now. We have several that are in bloom and many that have fun names too, which are cool to learn. So this one right here next to me is actually called an elephant bush. And we also have others like the ghost plant. Now the ghost plant is really neat because it can change colors. So sometimes it will be purple, other times it'll be this light green color, and that all has to do with the type of moisture it gets and the acidity or basic levels of the soil that it's in. So it's telling you what it likes, basically. And succulents are also interesting because they have real thick leaves that are really fun to touch. And those thick leaves retain water, which help them when they're living in arid or dry conditions. Some other fun succulents to check out in the garden are the flapjack or paddle plant with its big broad leaves, and the pork and beans right next to it. Another central plant that many of us know as a succulent is aloe vera. Now aloe is right here in the middle of our garden, and aloe has a lot of natural healing properties to it. So you see it oftentimes in natural remedies and medicines. Another important part of our garden is our pollinator bed. As you can see, it's bright and colorful. Bright blooms attract pollinators. They love bright colors like yellows, reds, and purples. So hummingbirds, bees, and butterflies love this space. We have great plants in this garden like salvias, blanket flower, and zinnias. But at the center of this garden is the milkweed. Now, the milkweed patch is a very busy place. It attracts things like monarch butterflies, which are so important for our ecosystem. They like to lay their eggs on the milkweed, and their caterpillars eat only milkweed leaves, so it's really important that they're able to find them. Monarch populations have been reducing recently, so anytime we have a chance to help them by creating these ecosystems for them, we're supporting that population. Other plants that other animals you'll see are honeybees, busy at work, collecting pollen. As well as milkweed bugs, which are bright orange and black, and I'll point these out to you right here. And these milkweed bugs actually like to eat seed pods from the milkweed, so they don't care so much about the leaves or the flowers, but they like the seed pods. Now the seed pods are what you see right here, these caught any fluffy spaces, and actually you can see a little milkweed bug on there. He's probably going to have a snack there, and it will eat the seeds. One of the great things about the flowers in this bed too are they're really easy to source. You can find them from your local nursery and recreate this bed very easily, which is wonderful. And these plants, while they're not native to Florida, are also non-invasive. So if you put them in your garden, they won't spread or do any negative impact to other plants that are naturally found in the ecosystem. So another space I'll take you to is our last raised bed here in the garden, and this is one of our veggie patches. Right now we have Brussels sprouts growing, tomatoes, and watermelon. Now plants like patio tomatoes are great if you live in a small space because the plant stays small as well, and we have some young tomatoes growing right there. And right next to them we have some Brussels sprouts growing. Now the neat thing about Brussels sprouts is these plants will grow taller and taller into a stalk, and the Brussels sprouts are actually growing close to that central stalk of the plant. And when you're ready to harvest, you actually cut the whole stalk down, and then you can get those Brussels sprouts off of there. Another great thing to incorporate into your garden are herbs. So let's go check out our herb portion of the garden. We have things like lavender in the garden, which smells great. If you run your fingers through the lavender, you just get a great sweet smell from those. You can make things like tea, incorporate it into baking. Lavender is very versatile and great to have in the garden. Other herbs we have in the garden are parsley, and rosemary. Flatleaf parsley is actually a butterfly attractant, so it's good for you and it's also good for the butterflies. They like it as well. Other plants we have in the garden are the basil. So we have a couple of types of basil here. We have purple and sweet basil growing, dill, and a little more parsley over here because we like it so much at the Bishop. Another interesting way to grow is vertically. So let's check out our vertical garden. Our vertical garden is actually comprised of reused pallets that we had hanging out here at the Bishop, and we converted them into our strawberry bed. So right now we have strawberries that are growing. You can see some blooms and some young strawberries. And before too long, we will have nice red strawberries growing. Now, some other features that we added to the vertical part of the garden are our bug hotel. So the bug hotel, located right over here, is great for things like isolated bees. So there are bees that like to live on their own and not hang out with the colony, but they still will go out and pollinate. So we'd like attracting those bees and some other bugs that like to live there as well. So you can see things like pine cones incorporated in there, and even wood sticks and shavings are great for the bug hotel. And it's really easy DIY for you to make at home as well. Take some paper straws and a plastic cup. You insert those plastic straws in there and set it outside. You have a bug hotel really quickly. Another home we have for our insects is the butterfly house. So butterfly houses actually have these slit openings, and that allows the butterflies to get in, but predators to stay out. So things like birds that might predate on the butterflies can't get into the house, and they can get in there and rest. All right. Well, I hope that you all enjoyed our tour of the garden here at the Bishop, and thank you all for coming out. Feel free to go out into your own backyards and get exploring. See if you can find a milkweed bug or two, or maybe a little ladybug hanging out. We can't wait to see what you all find in your own backyards. Thanks.